Prescott Panthers. Fast forward to 2023, both teams are 80 minutes away from the Challenge Cup final at Wembley and are called challenging for those Super League playoffs. Marcus Griffiths is the referee, Chris Kendall is the video ref. But incredible to think where these two teams were in 1996 and where they are now in 2023. And Leigh, well, the mistake from the kickoff straight away goes out on the fall, and Leigh will get a penalty.
Well, Willie Peters knows that he's up against a very good side. You can see that they've just overcooked that. He's got a lot of respect for the way that this Leigh side play, and do you know, you talked about them where they were years ago in 1996, but haven't they both embraced Super League? Whenever you come to Leigh, oh wow!
Well, it's incredible.
Well, there's a mistake from the kickoff from Hulkeyard, then they can't find touch with the penalty.
There's two massive plays from the wingers. Josh Charnley with a really smart play to straddle the sideline, gets the ball back, and then Ryan Hall, positionally exceptional. What a start.
I think you'd have got long odds on that, but yeah, there's a lot more to Josh Charnley and Ryan Hall, isn't there, than try scoring. Mind you, between them, 457 tries.
Both of them outstanding.
Astonishing figure.
Both of them outstanding. And when John was down talking to Ryan Hall, talking about and saying about the size of him and what they do and what does he like, is it tackle two or scoring? Both of them are very good, returning the ball and scoring some excellent tries.
Lynette it is, and Lytton. The ball will go back to Mikey Lewis, and that is a decent kick from Lewis. Chased back by Gareth O'Brien. And here is the dangerous Josh Charnley. So 90 seconds in, smoke still swirling around. It's very still. We've had drizzle. What is it like pitch side? John Wells.
Yeah, exactly right. Good evening, Stuart. Drizzle all afternoon. This will be a slick surface. Handling will be key. Ironic, really, the better kicking game, given what we've seen so far, I think will be a huge advantage this evening. This is an evening for ruck runners, in my opinion, Stuart. Keep your eyes then on Edwin Apapi for Leigh and Jez Litton for Hulkeyard and Matt Parcell when he comes off the bench. All key players, I think, in these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Apapi, without doubt, one of the players of the season. You can put John Asiata, the captain, in there as well. Charnley. It's been some season, hasn't it, for the Leigh Leopards. Reynolds goes high and Ryan Hall watches it all the way. Are we expecting points? I think we are, aren't we?
Yeah, of course. I don't think it's in either of these sides' DNA to play it safe. Obviously, like John Wells was just saying, then conditions haven't been great all day, but you'll still throw that pass. They'll still back themselves to break down the opposition. It won't just be 5 drives and a kick into the corner.
Luckily, drives to within 10 yards of halfway. The start's so important for both sides, and both coaches are aware of that. Incredibly, last week in the south of France, Leigh went 20-0 down, but what a good kick that is. Or is it just going to go dead? It just goes dead. Well, it was a late challenge there on Briscoe. Apologies coming in, but yeah, that's interesting. He was very late there.
Well, Jez Litton with the play 4 kick. He spotted Briscoe up on the end of the line, kicks behind him. It's inches from being perfect from Jez Litton. It just dribbles dead. And look, Mikey Lewis slides. There's nothing in it. Let's just get on with it. Just get on with it. It's just accidental. No malicious intent. It was almost a great kick from Jez Litton, wasn't it?
But it's like, what's he doing, though?
He slipped. He slipped into him. There's nothing in it. The referee just goes, mate, just watch yourself.
He's going to get 10 minutes in Simon here.
It's going to be a tap in the middle. Yeah, because the ball was dead.
There's been a dramatic start right from the kickoff. 3 minutes in, and one of Hulkeyard's most influential players is in the bin for this.
Well, he's got a few seconds, hasn't he, there?
He's sliding.
But how does he start sliding? Does he?
He falls over.
Yeah. Well,
I know what you're saying. It looks pointless, but in a surface like this, Stuart, we talked about how greasy it is. John Wells has just painted the picture how greasy the surface is. Mikey Lewis, even if he wanted to stop dead, it's almost impossible in that situation.
Well, you need more than Mouldies in this weather, if that's what you're saying.
He's got the wrong footwear on. We're going for the footwear.
Played devil's advocate. To be fair, Briscoe had already picked up the ball and it was already out of play. So I think that's probably the reason that he's gone to the sin bin. So great chance for Leigh, and Brian stopped midway inside the Hull KR half. Well, what a start it's been. Pape and Reynolds. Influential. Asiata plays the ball as quickly as he can. Reynolds again, and here is Zach Hardaker. Back from a one-match suspension, missed the defeat in Perpignan against the Catalan Dragons. Picked up just on the bounce by Reynolds. Asiata, and that's a good ball out to Lamb. They've got numbers here. Liratao does well, and eventually loses the ball. That was a brilliant tackle.
Do you know, Stuart, I think they missed an opportunity. I mean, I think it was Rob Mulhern on the shoulder of Asiata. It was a little tip on instead of out the back. And it goes to this man who is dangerous, but he loses possession. There was a nice little play on.
Well, that's that left edge from Leigh, isn't it? And you saw the combinations on the inside. Asiata really digging into the line. It makes it incredibly difficult to defend when you've got a loose forward who can play like he does. But Ricky Latelli, when he gets the ball, I think he's one of the most dangerous ball carriers in the competition. Slipped there, lost the ball, but a frantic start here, Stuart.
Yeah, absolutely. Score update coming in from Wakefield. Look at that, 8-0 up. That was a 7:45 kickoff at Bellevue. Wakefield leading Salford 8-0, looking for their second win of the season. The other matches tonight, of course, St Helens against Castleford, and Wigan taking on Huddersfield. There's the kick downfield from Rowan Mills. Well watched by Briscoe. Interesting about Rowan Mills, you know, with Jordan Abdul in our studio tonight. Abdul out possibly for the season, but certainly till September. A real opportunity for young Rowan Mills to make his mark, not just in this Hull KR side, but in Super League 2.
Well, it's competition for places, isn't it? And that's what keeps you're on your toes as a player. When you get given an opportunity, you've got the jersey, you've got the dues, and it's yours to lose. Obviously, Jordan Abdul, talented player, but if Rowan Mills is playing that well, you've got to fit him in somewhere.
This guy's been fantastic. Tom Amon for Leigh. His combination with Asiata is lethal, because all John Asiata is looking to do is just nudge this Leigh team around and create numbers like this. And it's so effective. And if Asiata doesn't get you, Pape gets you. If a Pape doesn't get you, Latelli gets you. And that's what I love about this Leigh team. They've got multiple threats on the ball, and that's not even mentioning Lachlan Lamb, who's maybe the key sort of half-back in the competition so far.
Here is Asiata, the ball goes to ground, and it was Mulhern on the charge.
Well, that time they picked Mulhern as the short ball instead of going out the back, and he just can't quite take it.
Yaha.
Asiata, when he pulls in players, doesn't he? You could see Rob Mulhern, he just felt the pressure. Then I think it was George King.
It's a night for handling errors, isn't it? You feel like the team that makes the least was going to have a big say on the outcome here, because it's greasy. We've seen Latelli lose the ball just with no pressure. We've seen Mulhern lose it there. It's going to be incredibly difficult to keep hold of this ball.
Ryan Hall always looking for the ball, hasn't touched it for a couple of minutes, so comes in looking for it. Here is Minchella. Talking about influential players, Elliot Minchella very much so in this whole KR side. Mills it is, dinks it downfield, and out it goes.
Nice play. They're starting to chew up some metres, aren't they, here now? Getting in that right field position where they want to be disciplined, and to be in a good position to win this game. I think they need to be disciplined in key areas.
It's a good kick as well, going back to what you were saying, John, because it pins Leigh down and gives Hull KR the opportunity to force that mistake, force that handling error.
Yeah, rugby's a lot about field position. You're more likely to score the closer you get the ball to your opponent's line. Well, Hull KR are just saying to Leigh, look, be clean, don't make an error. And now Zach Hardaker carrying here, Josh Charnley, who carries in this part of the field. They've just got to be clean and tidy and not come up with a mistake.
I say it may be a slate grey clouds and a still wind and drizzle around the stadium, but just a feeling of something in the air tonight that this could be a really, really good game. Brilliant offload from Asiata to Pape, and this is the way that Leigh played, but Reynolds dropped the ball, no, came off the road to town. The tackle count is white clean, so Reynolds straightens up and goes for it. But there's the danger of Asiata and a Pape. Oliver Holmes.
Yeah, it's Sean Kenny Dow.
You can see the reaction on Kenny Dow's face as well. Here's the hard-working Tom Amone, his 50th appearance already for the Leigh Leopards. Asiata. Superb hands, out it goes now to Briscoe. Briscoe! Magnificent try, I think, there from Tom Briscoe. Brilliant from Asiata. Briscoe thinks he scored it.
Can you just check?
But the video referee, Chris Kendall, is going to decide.
Okay, it's tackle 2, live call a try. We're going straight to the ground, and it's a fair tackle. See, touch in goal. Briscoe's in possession. And just one more, please. One more frame, and grounds the ball. I'm happy I've viewed the angles. I've made my decision.
Well, he doesn't lose sight of the try line, does he, Tom Briscoe? Been scoring tries like that, approaching 400 career games. And that, I think, in fact, I'm sure is his 14th try of the season. 7 tries in the last 6 games for Tom Briscoe. But it was that scintillating, silky handling that we've seen from Leigh so often that creates another try for the Leopards.
Well, mate, that 8 tries in the last 7 now. You know, they get a set restart here. You can see Ben Reynolds, he's trying to get the ball outside of Sean Kennedy-Dell. But I've got to give some credit here to Tom Briscoe. It's good play, but he's hit with absolutely everything from Tanguy Zenon. And the player who starts it all off is that man, John Asiata. He keeps it all nice and direct, pulls in defenders, tries to create that space outside. And that's a big play from a very powerful winger.
Yeah, big play, huge play from Briscoe. It was lovely hands from Gareth O'Brien. Derek Bowman will be delighted with the skills on show from this team. Subtlety of hands, Asiata, O'Brien, excellent from Leigh.
Do you know, they needed a really good start for me, because last week in Catalan, they nearly nicked it at the end, but they conceded 2 tries in the opening 5 minutes.
They were 20-0 down, weren't they? 20-0 down, and then actually led before losing it in the last 10 minutes. The Leigh play, you'll get entertainment, you'll get tries, you'll get drama. Reynolds off the touchline, 5 out of 5 in Perpignan last weekend. Well, I'll tell you what, in these conditions, that is an absolute beauty for Ben Reynolds. Leigh lead 6-0.
Yeah, and it's a great kick from Reynolds. Look, I love Asiata digs into the line. Once he gets in O'Brien's hands, it's easy to throw that straight away, pumps it, and that just pulls Ryan Hall in. This sublime skill from Gareth O'Brien. Exceptional start here from Leigh, and let's not forget that little yellow marker above the Hull KR scoreboard there, marking the fact that Mikey Lewis is off the field for that sort of cynical slide tackle incident on Tom Briscoe, and how costly might that be for Hull KR in his opening 10 minutes.
Mulhern. And Mikey Lewis will be back in a couple of minutes. There you go, 2 minutes and a few seconds, and Mikey Lewis will be back on for Hull KR.
And it's really important to get him back on, because Leigh are dangerous when you've got a full complement, and Leigh are dangerous in all parts of the field when everybody's out there. When you're a defensive number short, it just makes them so much easier for them to create opportunities, and John Asiata will be licking his lips because he's always counting numbers to pick a side. Well, they've just made it an awful lot easier for them.
Well, look at this. 14-0 Wakefield now in front against the Salford Red Devils. Leigh on a roll, Lachlan Lamb, brilliant from Lamb, inside for a Pape goes for the line, a Pape will slide over, has he got the ball down? He has. That is a delicious try from the Leigh Leopards, sensational, 2 tries in 3 minutes, brilliant from Lamb, even better from a Pape. And it's 10-0.
Wow, explosive. That's what they are. They got on the play before. The speed of it, I think it was the inside ball from Asiata to Amon. He gets up, he plays the ball. And then look at that run behind the ruck from Lachlan Lamb. And like all good hookers, just backing up Edwin Apapi. He's happy, he's settled in Leigh, and you can tell by the way he's playing. You just see the way that Lachlan Lamb comes back behind the ruck here, gets rid of King, and then he looks over his shoulder. The man who supplied him with the pass initially from the ruck is there on the shoulder.
Yeah, and the Pape's looked dangerous, hasn't he? As soon as the ruck's fractured, Willie Peters mentioned in studio pre-game about how important ruck control is. Well, that's of paramount importance when Edwin Pape is on the scene. It was great from him in the build-up to that. Adrian Lam knows in these conditions that was going to be a try. Pape's always going to slide over. But ominously for Hull KR, Edwin Pape here has got the bit between his teeth, Stuart.
Has had for most of the year. Talked about that spine. 1, 6, 7, 9, 13. Brian, Reynolds, Lamb, Pape and Asiata.
His 18th try assist as well, Lachlan Lamb.
Yeah.
He's so influential, it's unreal.
Reynolds. 12-0 inside 13 minutes. Oh, would you believe it? Oh, so reliable with the boot. Hits one with the touchline. 15 minutes. 50 yards from touch, and he hits the post. Well, Pape or Mikey Lewis will be on the touchscreen with John Wells. Whoever wins the match, of course. The Pape has done everything right. Mikey Lewis has done everything wrong. But Mikey Lewis is back on for Hull KR, trailing by 10 points to 0. Incredible to think if, of course they're big ifs, if Leigh beat Hull KR and if Wigan lose to Huddersfield, Leigh Leopards go second in the Super League table.
Remarkable.
Long way to go,
Yeah,
but that is a scenario.
I think they've been excellent, haven't they? You know, many pundits didn't expect them to win this amount of games in the full season, let alone half the season. And Adrian Lamb, Chris Chester on his left-hand side, backed by the owner in Derek Beaumont, and obviously backed by the fans as well.
It's a great kick from Pape. Great kick from Pape. It's just going to run long.
Yeah, just a little bit too much to it.
But he's had some telling involvements. You know when a great player just imprints himself on a game. So a couple of great carries, a try, and then what you find is he's hungry for more involvement.
15 minutes gone, 10-0. These are the latest scores elsewhere. Wigan leading 4-0 against Huddersfield Saints, 4-0 up against Cats, and Wakefield shaking things up at the foot of the table, 14-0 in front against Salford.
What about Wakefield? Having a crack.
It's okay, depth.
Well, Hull KR are going to have to need to have a crack, but there's the mistake.
The second tackle looking to shift that ball over.
It is with the error.
Well, Denon, the man who passes the ball out to him, you see it's the no-look pass. It just snatches at the ball. And because of that error now, they need to defend, don't they? You can see he just can't quite take it in.
I'm all for that play if you've created space and created numbers, but all he's doing is shoveling that onto Yaha in not a fantastic position. Leigh had defended that play pretty well, and it's quite high risk. They're not really looking. Charnley's just backing off. He's dealt with that. For young wingers watching, watch Josh Charnley there. Fantastic, just really patient.
Shot clock off, sorry, Tony.
Reynolds.
One.
Well, they missed him, didn't they? A couple of games out through
Go one.
Suspension, Ben Reynolds. Red card, magic weekend against Wakefield, could have no complaints. The red miss, the daft, silly punch, but he's back here running things.
You look at the options that they've got every time that they carry the ball. It's not on tackle 4 or 5, the big setup play. It seems every play that they've got numbers.
Amon.
4. Muchez off the ball.
Ever present.
Hold.
Ever reliable.
4.
Asiata, brilliant again, and they got opportunities, a little dummy, and it could be a try, another try! Well, Leigh are running absolute riot here. Another superb try, smiles all round from the coach. Ed Chamberlain, who got 2 tries in Perpignan against Catalan last week, has got another one here. And what about this for a start? 17 minutes, 14-0. Well, they promised to deliver in front of the Sky Sports cameras, and they are.
Yeah, well, it's slick from Leigh. If you contrast that to Hull KR's attempt to shift the ball, it's direct from Lamb. He breaks it down on Chamberlain, who's a lead runner. In these conditions, that's just smart. Look, Ipape, Asiata, Lamb, Chamberlain with a killer line. Hull KR scrambling, not getting it right defensively. But we've got a hill. The execution of Adrian Lamb's men, really sharp from them, as we've seen all year with the ball. This left edge that's been lethal. Len Chamberlain runs a great line, but let's credit the man on the inside of that, Lachlan Lamb, what form he's been in.
Well, Len Chamberlain, Leigh, it's his 7th club, but he's found a home here. And of course it was, over the past few years, it's already been tagged, hasn't it, the home of the Nomads, but Nomads no more, because some of the signings they've made have been absolutely sensational.
Yeah, they seem to take players and make them better. Is that the definition of good coaching? Well, Adrian Lamb's doing a great job then. Really bringing on players who've maybe struggled elsewhere and getting the best out of them. And Reynolds, we put that in that category as well, in exceptional form. In fact, all of the key players, John Wells made a great point, they've had continuity through the spine of the team, and it helps so much.
No mistake this time from Ben Reynolds. 16 points to 0, and it's been sparkling, hasn't it?
Yeah, look at that.
Lachlan Lamb, well, overtaking Jack Wellesby. Well, top try assist now.
Well, two in today's game. Last week, exactly the same player, Ed Chamberlain. He set him up with 2 tries. Carbon copy, exactly the same line. Punches into that space. He started his career, didn't he? Ed Chamberlain, winger, fullback, centre, very athletic. And his aggressive style of running as well, you could see it took some scoring that when he got through. But that is an absolute carbon copy of the try he scored in Catalan.
Well, Hull KR will be disappointed with how they've started this game. I think Leigh have been slick, and they've done everything that you expect Leigh to do. I've not seen Leigh do anything that you wouldn't preview that they're going to do. They're going to attack down the left, for sure. They've done that. They're going to move the ball through Asiata, for sure. They've done that. Willie Peters and all of his men would have known what's coming, but it's a different thing stopping it. And Hull KR have just been sloppy. Just been sloppy. They've been caught offside here. It's another error from Hull KR. It's actually a ball steal, and it's just been sloppy. I just don't think they've started well. It started with the yellow card for Lewis, a few poor kicks, defensively not been quite out. Willie Peters and Danny Maguire will be asking the questions. We had a plan. What's happened, boys?
Well, simple fact is we're approaching the midway point of the first half. 20 minutes, and Hull KR haven't yet had the ball inside the Leigh 20.
Difficult to score in those situations, isn't it? The stats are piled against them, but look, numbers tell a story. The visual here tells the story. This tells the story. Asiata just toying with the Hull KR defence. Ipape then off the back of it looking to run, feeding people round the ruck. It's too quick.
Yeah, and that's the reason for the penalty. They can't get back. They're offside. Too quick. They know that the ruck, like Willie Peters said, it's all about slowing that ruck down. You can't get back the 10 metres, so you're trying to just cheat.
2 tackles on the bounce.
Yeah, and when it gets too quick like that as well, Stuart, it saps your energy. Minchella's blowing here. Willie Peters spoke about ruck control. Well, his team's just desperately got the wrong side of the energy battle. It's been way too quick. And look, Leigh maybe feeling the heat as well, taking 2 points here, which is maybe a surprise, Stuart.
Yeah, don't go in front of them, come on.
They'd be pretty happy, wouldn't they, Leigh? If this conversion goes over, you give them 18-0, 20 minutes. This was a dangerous game for both sides.
Of course, both sides have Challenge Cup semi-finals to look forward to in 3 weeks. Leigh taking on St Helens at the Halliwell Jones. Hull KR facing Wigan 24 hours later at Headingley. Who knows, these two might be playing at Wembley in the final in August.
Yeah, Hull KR have got a job on here. We saw last night, we saw Leeds destroy Warrington in the opening 15 minutes. Well, almost carbon copy of the destruction. Hull KR on the receiving end tonight. It's been flawless from Leigh, and Hull KR are flapping.
Great to watch as well. Reynolds for 18-0. Well, hooked it badly, didn't he? So it stays 16-0, but it's a dropout from the 20, so Leigh will get the ball back.
Well, they've got to start again now. Hull KR, Willie Peters' men are just thinking, like, just let's not look at the scoreboard. Get our bodies in front here, try and get an error.
Foot. Play on, play on. Keep going, he's in
Eventually
possession.
picked up by Briscoe, the first try scorer. His 16th season in Super League. Hardacre now. But it really is one-way traffic. Our necks are getting strained to the left, aren't they? Because that's where all the action is. And here they come again as Lamb inside for Chamberlain.
Well, they've had the majority of possession, haven't they? 65% compared to Hull KR's 35. And it's where they've had it as well. Look at that.
Brilliant inside ball there. Terry, he's got the pace and he's got the power. Wakefield now 22-0 up against Salford, astonishing. And so is this performance here from Leigh. Brilliant in these opening, 23 minutes. 16-0, last one, looking for more. And Mo goes for the try, and he's stopped just short. He's stretched, and every sinew over his shoulder.
Big defence from KR. But what about the ball on the inside to Leigh from Asiata? They're so dangerous. You know, all eyes are on Asiata. Everyone knows he's a big, imposing figure. But nice skills.
Yeah,
Kerry Dowell.
Look, for Hull KR as well, how big might this tackle from Matty Staunton be? That, you know, 16-0, that goes to 22-0. That's game over. When you go back and Hull KR in this game, we've got to remember moments like that. Massive tackle from Matty Staunton.
Set restart. Here is Kane Linnett. His 99th game for KR. His 100th game will come in the Hull derby next weekend.
Tom Hull, go to.
Live on Sky Sports, of course. Sunday lunchtime.
Move Oliver.
And there we go, 11:30 on air, 12 o'clock kickoff. And next Friday night, it's Warrington against Saints. Big weekend of live action on Sky Sport. At the moment, as things stand, Wigan winning, Leigh winning, Saints winning, Warrington are down to 4th, and that's an error from Kane Linnett. Nothing is going right for Hull KR, but so far you have to say the masters of their own downfall.
Yeah, they've just not got any momentum because the game's been punctuated by errors for them. Leigh have defended tidily and not put a foot wrong, but Hull KR need to take some responsibility for controlling some possession. That was really the first opportunity they've had. They had a set restart, they've got down the field, they're actually in the Leigh half, and then Willie Peters will be devastated that they've come up with an error.
Well, our stats are saying that they've only completed 5 sets to 6, whereas Leigh 11, so twice as much possession.
Still, they didn't get inside the Leigh 20. Charlie, 22 tries this season. For Josh Charlie in League and Cup. Another set restart, so a chance for Leo Talley for the Leigh Leopards.
The 22 tries is impressive, but it's that stuff that's really valuable for a teammate. He wins a set restart, then Latelli follows up, it's another quickish ruck.
Oh, Hardacre loses the ball. And then Rovers lose the ball, but first mistake, this will be a chance. First real opportunity this for Hull KR.
Well, the first mistake is off a Hull KR play because it was offloaded by Leigh. And I think, was it Mikey Lewis, Zach Hardacre is going down on the floor, he tries to get the ball away north. I do apologise, Stuart. It's Zach Hardacre that loses the ball first.
That just shows you how difficult it is. For the people at home watching, this might look a bit sloppy skill-wise. When that ball is greasy, it's so difficult to keep hold of it. It requires so much concentration.
Especially when there's arms and shoulders around it.
Opicic for Hull KR. First time we've really mentioned Tom Opicic.
And he's a gun as well.
Yeah, 100th appearance of his career tonight, and it's not going to plan. Here is Staunton. Gets the offload. Then another set restart, I think it is. The real chance here for Rovers. Litton goes across the line, and Minchella, they're looking out to that left-hand side. Kane Linnett, good defence from Leigh. First time Leigh have had to defend their own try line, and we're in the 27th minute. Minchella again, and Rowan Mills. Opicic does well, but Charlie was nearly in there. The ultimate poacher, so nearly in there for the interception. got a feel here that Holkeani points on the board, Mills with a little chip through, and it was Reynolds who was back there, did really, really well, Ben Reynolds.
Was that the second tackle at the kick then?
It was just, well, the kick was good. What play from Ben Reynolds, so calm. So calm, that's high risk from him, but that could be a big play.
First attack, they come up with nothing.
And they had 3 more tackles up the bag. If it comes off and they get another set, that's all good and well. It's not come off, and now they're on halfway, and now they're defending in their own half.
Scrappy from OKR, isn't it? Every aspect of the game's just not been quite right. But as we know in rugby league, you can turn that around. You can turn that around.
Release, Jazz. 3. Go 3.
16 points to 0. Lamb picked up by Chamberlain. Opacich in there to make the tackle. So impressed with the way that Leigh are playing, even in these conditions. They're sticking to their principles, they're sticking to their style of play, and they're winning convincingly. Apape, Lachlan Lamb dinks the kick up, and it was well taken by Tanguy. But the ball has gone loose, and it comes out to John Charlie, but the referee will say that they were offside.
Tackle's complete, and then he's put his hand onto the ball, which was forced it to come out.
only one motion.
No, it wasn't. It was a secondary motion to the ball.
Yeah.
Wow. Referee's called a secondary motion to steal the ball. And the referee's mic, that's what it's called. He said Ricky Latelli's made a second effort to squeeze that ball out. That's a tough call on Leigh, isn't it?
That, for me, that's a try.
What a tackle from Ricky Latelli.
Well, timing's everything in defence, isn't it?
Well,
And certainly that. And do you know what? They're just playing nice and direct. The Leopards, look, good hit. The ball spews out. I know that there's a play at it, there's not a tug at it.
2. Away, Rob.
John said earlier, like, these conditions are tough for players. Arms in, shoulders in.
Okay, still 2.
I think we're unanimous on the gantry. It should have been a try.
Not make our bit of that.
11 minutes to go to half-time. Is that a key moment in the game? 16-0, the lead for the Leigh Leopards.
Clear. 5. Away,
Dean
Rob.
Hadley. But already it's the last. Can they do anything with this? Aiden, and the ball goes up towards this corner, and Gareth O'Brien watched it really, really well.
Well, Josh Charlie.
Opacich there was claiming that he was pushed off the ball by Josh Charlie.
Josh Charlie, well,
The referee agrees.
He's been penalised for an escort here.
Keep going straight, and you're all right.
Does he run in front of him? Does he stop?
He moves across the line, doesn't he? He just changes his line. He has
can
a
see
look.
him looking over his shoulder.
He knows exactly what he's doing. He's protecting Gareth O'Brien, who's a much smaller character than himself. But chance here. Holkeani to take one of these.
Look at Charlie's face.
Innocence.
Yeah, methinks he protested too much. Rovers here with an opportunity. Here is Opacich. Right on that Leigh line. Leigh may well, possibly should have had a try a couple of minutes ago. Is it a big turning point? Staunton, who's made an impression at both ends of the field since he's come onto the field. Litton at dummy half. Kennedy out of the back door. Here is Minchella trying to wriggle his way through. Right in front of the post. Litton from dummy half, but it was read well. It was read really well by the Leigh defence.
Yeah. Good work. Numbers in, knowing exactly what Jez Litton's going to do before he does it. It's quick out of dummy half, isn't he?
Mulhern and Moan and O'Brien read it superbly. Now Mills goes towards the corner. Ryan Hall and Kenny Dowles up there, and the ball eventually is put behind by Ben Reynolds. But first of all, it was a knock on, and then it came off a Rovers hand, did it?
Yeah, well, Sean Kenny Dowell knocks it on first, doesn't he? And then I think there's a bit of panic from Tom Briscoe, was it, who just knocks it dead.
Well, it's lucky, isn't it, for Leigh, because it was actually Kenny Dowell who had the last touch. Knocks it dead, and it's a 7-tackle set. So Leigh get the ball back, and it's just an easy pressure reliever. Concerningly for Leigh, in back play here, John Asiata looks in all sorts of trouble with some sort of shoulder injury. Referee now calls time just to have a look at it. But this will be concerning for Adrian Lamb.
This would be a massive blow.
1.
Asiata, one of the stars of this Super League season. brilliant he's been. Absolutely brilliant, the captain. And,
Hold.
well, he may be in a little bit of pain, but he doesn't want to come off. Asiata is staying on. He may well have an injury to his left shoulder,
Go free.
but he ain't going anywhere. Here is a moan again.
That's a good carry.
Keep playing away from him.
You know, Dean Hadley then, you can see him just clutching that shoulder going away.
Lachlan Lamb, Chamberlain, one of the try scorers, along with a Pape and Briscoe.
It's the tempo of the run. You look at Lachlan Lamb when he's attacking the line. He slows it down, he speeds it up. There's going to be a good kick here from Reynolds.
O'Brien gets the kick away and it comes off Charnley, so picked up there by Zenon, so Rovers get away with it. It was 16-0 after some 13 or 14 minutes, and Rovers here have fought and fought and fought to stay in it. They may be lucky that they're not further behind, but they're still in it.
Yeah, they're scrambling, aren't they? A big tackle from Matty Staunton, an element of luck when Ricky Latelli's judged to have stolen the ball. And you just feel like a try for Hull KR, and half-time's a different proposition for them. It's so important that they get on the scoreboard, a set restart here, and Hull KR are just edging their way back into this contest.
Yeah, Kenny Dow with the offload. Here is Reece Kennedy in his first season, of course, with
Nice offload.
with KR. That's a great offload. Litton now finds Kane Linnet. As John says, just bit by bit, and slowly getting themselves back into this. Staunton, whichever it was with the offload.
Hold. Back space.
6.5 minutes to half-time. Plenty of time for Rovers to put points on the board, and chance now for Yaha up against Charnley, and he's pushed it to top.
It was
Charnley and Lamb were absolutely determined that Fuad Yaha was going absolutely nowhere.
in these conditions. That play was always going to happen. Look at it, when the ball shifted over to the right-hand side, you're running out of space. And Tanguy Zenon, he gives it in, and Fuad Yaha's trying to get down, and how strong Josh Charnley is. Look at him, he's just keeping him up, knowing that there's going to be some defenders from the inside going to help him over that sideline. And Danny Maguire, Willie Peters, well, it has not been a good 34 minutes for them.
It's such a nothing play. As soon as you get down to man-on-man, Zenon needs to take his medicine there and accept the tackle. He just dished Yaha hospital pass in an impossible situation. We've had a couple of those. See, now this is a big moment for Leigh. How big is this for Leigh? Asiata off, down, clearly hurt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, not just for tonight, but for what's to come.
Well, it's not just like losing him there, but he inspires everyone on the pitch when he's on as well. So having him not there, someone else has got to step up in the middle and be that link between the backs and the forwards.
And he's one of those players, you lose him, and it's not just you lose a little bit of effectiveness, you almost lose your style. So Leigh's challenge here is to replicate that style with somebody else in that position.
And John Wells did a stat before, didn't he, about that, why Leigh is so good. As we go for the 40-20 here. Does he get it?
That's a brilliant kick. Ben Reynolds, that's a magnificent kick. What a kick from Ben Reynolds.
What's
a 40-20. I'm not sure what Zenon was thinking there. All I can think is that he didn't think it was a 40-20.
I know, but have some awareness, man.
Lachlan Lamb.
So bad.
Move down the line.
Well, what a time this would be to score right before half-time. Asiata charges on through Ben McIntyre, right in front of the post. He's on to replace Asiata.
Go to.
A Pape and Lamb, and quick hand for O'Brien, and Charnley will score. Of course, Josh Charnley will score. He scored in the last 8 games now for the Leigh Leopards, and that is try number 23 of a quite remarkable season for him, and what's turning out to be quite a remarkable season for the Leigh Leopards.
Well, Leigh have been so good all year, but I think this is their first 40-20 of the season. It was a quality kick, wasn't it? And Tanguy Zenon, well, he didn't want any part of it. He must have just got that wrong. He must have thought he was outside the 40. But they go over here, and Gareth O'Brien, what a player. Fuad Yaha gets it all wrong. He's got eyes for Ricky Liutelli. And soon as Gareth O'Brien spots that space, he gives it out wide to Josh Charnley. try scored extraordinaire.
Yeah, Hull KR have lacked focus here. Zenon, you know, Josh Charnley, 20 tries. Unbelievable from him. But look, he's part in the team for his try scoring for sure, but he's part of the lethal left edge for Leigh, which has absolutely been destructive here. But for me, as much of the story's been Leigh and how excellent they've been, it's just a lack of focus from Hull KR. And I think that moment from Zenon actually highlights Hull KR's first half. Just a lack of discipline, a lack of focus, but exceptional from Josh Charnley, the prolific Josh Charnley and Leigh Leopard.
Josh Charnley, 20th Super League try, level with Tom Johnson, 23rd of the season, including the Challenge Cup. 20 points to 0. Reynolds, well, that's a lovely kick. For the moment, it left the boot. Reynolds extends the lead. 22-0, the only black spot on Leigh's performance, an injury to their inspirational skipper, John Asiata. John Wells has news.
Yep, just doing a bit of digging down here pitchside. No real concern on the Leigh bench. Physio and trainer there, just indicating that it's a bit of a stinger. Copped a knee to the neck. Sometimes that triggers a nerve. It's all settling down. They're not worried about him.
So that means we could see him back. 22 points to 0. Leigh assistant coach Tony Clubb must have a smile on his face. What a performance this has been.
Yeah, it has, and we needed to react from last week. We started really poor last week, so we needed that reaction this week, and I think we've got it. You know, we've been a team that starts really fast, really well over the last couple of weeks, and we wanted to get back to that. And you know, we let ourselves down at Catalan, and you know, hopefully putting that right today.
Not too concerned then about John Asiata's injury.
No, it's just a bit of a stinger. You know, the way John tackles, he's a full-on player, John, so we're not too worried about it. You know, he played big minutes last week, so we're just giving him a bit of a rest now.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
22-0 last minute or so of the half.
Well, and that's a great call as well, isn't it, from Tony Clubb? Like 22-0, why would you want to waste one of your star players? The go forward's good from everyone else around him. Yeah, you're going to lose that bit of interplay in the middle of the field, but it gives someone else a chance, doesn't it, to try and play that way.
Well, here's one of them, Ben Nakam Bawai. And here's Lamb once more. Can they get another one before half-time? Good tackle from Ryan Hall. Read it beautifully. At 22-0 down, they simply cannot afford to concede another try as Reynolds kicks it through, and it was well read in the end by young Tanguy Zenon. And Hull KR will just be glad to get in at half-time.
Yeah, it's not been a great half for them. Hull KR have been an amazing story. Willie Peters has added some real steel to them, and a fantastic club who are on the up in every single sense. Some great support for them here tonight, but they just haven't brought it, Stuart. They haven't brought a level of focus and concentration you need when you're playing against a team like Leigh, who have so many threats. They've been schooled by Leigh here in the first half.
Leigh have been superb, and in the conditions, the rain has continued to fall. Is that another mistake? Well, they've lost the ball, but it may not matter, because there is the hooter to signal the end of a sensational first 40 minutes for the Leigh Leopards. A 9-game-winning run before their defeat against Catalan. There's one of the headline makers, Lachlan Lamb. We just saw a shot of Josh Charnley, who we called Tom Johnson, with 20 Super League tries at the top of the charts this season. And a real worry for Willie Peters, much to do during the half-time break. Leigh have just been exceptional. They lead at half-time by 22 points to 0.
Stuart, John, Terry, thank you very much. Well, to a great applause here at the Leigh Sports Village, the Leopards jog into the refuge of the change rooms. I say refuge because the conditions are tricky here. Rain throughout the first 40 minutes. It hasn't stopped. Sensational Leigh Leopards blasting past Hull KR. We'll get the thoughts of Jamie Jones-Buchanan and Hull KR star Jordan Abdul after this. Big night in the Betfred Super League concerning teams at the top and bottom of the table. Wakefield, who are at the foot, can close the gap to Castleford to just 4 points if they can close out what looks like a victory for them against Salford. They lead 24-0. It was 22-0 at half-time. Will Dagger kicking plenty of penalties in that game. Castleford trailed St Helens 10-0 at the home of the champions. Sonny Mataudia and Jack Wellesby with the scores for Paul Wellenside, who are bouncing back from that disappointing defeat to Hull last week. And Huddersfield, a response of sorts against the Wigan Warriors. A brace for the Wigan Warriors. Abasmiski, he has scored tries now in 6 consecutive games. I can tell you Lee Kershaw has just gone over for Wakefield. 28-0 now they lead in a game that kicked off at 7:45. Our game here at the Leigh Sports Village kicked off at 8 o'clock, and it's been one-way traffic. Adrian Lamb's Leopards have absolutely mauled the Robins. They lead 22-0. Is there a way back for Hull KR? We will get the thoughts of our guests here in studio shortly. Firstly, let's bring you the stats. After 40 minutes, you will see tackles missed 11 by Willie Peters' visiting side. 747 metres made by the home team, just 422 for the visitors, who have had less possession and a 64% completion rate. Big problems for Hull KR. Can they solve it? Let's get the thoughts of their absent star, Jordan Abdul, who's alongside myself and Jamie Jones-Buchanan here at the Leigh Sports Village. Quite the hole your side find themselves in. What a start as well.
I think that's pretty much set up the full half. You know, we're coming against a team that are in the top 4, high on confidence, coming to their own patch, and we've started off kicking the ball out on the full, and you know, that's not the only reason, but it's a catalyst of the downfall. It shows where you're at mentally when you can do basic errors just to start a game.
Not long after Mikey did that, he found himself in the bin. Now, this is a bizarre incident. We found this angle, which will show. I mean, immediately we thought it's a bit of a harsh decision, but he has no business, it looks, Jordan, sliding.
No, 100%. He's had, what, a good 15 metres to slow down, and you know, I think he's trying to be smart there and look like he slipped, but the camera don't lie, and you know, fair play to the ref and the touch judge. It looks like they made the right decision, and they're the little things in the game what Mikey needs to get right, because he's cost us for 10 minutes tonight, and while he was off the field, they go on to score 12 points and give a team that thrive on being confident even more confidence to start of a match.
And Willie Peters wanted to talk about winning the ruck and being comprehensive in there, and look, Leigh haven't done anything different to what Leigh normally do exceptionally well. And it's again from Ipape onto Asiata, distributing that ball onto O'Brien, final pass, and Tommy Briscoe in the right edge corner. We talk a lot about Josh Charlie, well this fella can do exactly the same. Wonderful finish and a great start for Leigh. And Derek Beaumont, happy with the dividends that his investment is paying him at the minute.
Yeah, new shirt, new fringe, and it's all going the way of Derek Beaumont's Leigh Leopards. It got better after that. Not long after that, we saw Leigh at their attacking best. You've been in opposition to them this year. You're very complimentary about what they throw at you. It's not only effective, it's good to look at.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, I'm emotionally invested in Hull KR, so I'm going to say that you know, we've done a lot wrong in the half, but Leigh have played the conditions really well. You know, they've still thrown the ball around, and yeah, they've made a couple of handling errors, but that's from the fact that they are trying to force their hand a little bit. Asiata has been key for him, and Ipape's had a field day. All the things that have been talked about, you know, pre-match from us as, you know, Hull KR's point of view. We just haven't done anything to nullify their threats, and the 3 main people that I've talked about pre-match have all stood up tonight, and we haven't been able to nullify them.
That was 10-0. Then a man who got a brace last week, Ed Chamberlain, got one in the first half here, that left edge again.
Yeah, and look, these are some of the plays that they executed in round 3 and got Hull KR with. I imagine when they've previewed Leigh Leopards all week, they've been talking about this, hitting short lines, getting it right from 2-man, coming and wedging, and just not able to deal with it. There's nothing secret that Leigh are throwing at this Hull KR side. They're just doing it exceptionally well.
You're thinking at 16-0 down, just get in at half-time, and that's redeemable. This Josh Charnley try after the first 40-20 of the season from Ben Reynolds has put it maybe beyond Hull KR.
Oh, I'd like to think not. I'd like to think that Willie's going to get a response from the boys, and we'll show that, you know, we have got a bit of pride in the badge, and there's still something we're fighting for. You know, Leigh are unbeatable, and 22 points isn't unbeatable scorelines come back from, but we're going to have to do a hell of a lot of things better than what we did in that first half. Even that 40-20, like, you could argue he's had plenty of time to stop that. It just shows where we're at mentally, and you know, when a couple of things are going against us at the minute, we're not doing enough to get ourselves out of it, and that's the most disappointing thing from, you know, being a member of this club.
Well, Leigh haven't sat back. They've taken full advantage.
Yeah, they started really well. There's maybe a 15-20 minute period in the middle part of that half there where it got a little bit scrappy, and you know, you wondered whether Hull KR might be able to find their way in. Hull KR renowned for being a great second half team, so there's no resting on your laurels there. But look, with 744 metres to 422, it just shows you that Leigh have been dominant and blown Hull KR away, especially up the middle.
Will he be angry? Willie Peters? I mean, he'll be angry, but will his words be angry to the players?
Well, I hope so. Just based on that, like, I think there's times in a season where, you know, you go in at half-time and you're up against it, and sometimes you need that stern word, and you know, I can imagine he's probably going to say it in a roundabout way. I don't think there's going to be paint off the walls, but it's going to be a direct message, and the message is probably going to be that something's got to change, and we've got to tighten up the ruck. We have to start winning that ruck, and when we have the ball, we need to show a little bit of composure, because you know, what we've done in that first half isn't what we've built our season on this year. It looks more like the team that we was a couple of seasons ago.
Well, you aren't missing things to fix up in the second 40 minutes. Can you do it? Can Hull KR do it? There's one place to find out, and that's with us here on Sky Sports. At the moment, though, it's all going the way of the Leopards. We're going to see some changes in the top 6 of the Betfred Super League table, but 40 more minutes of pulsating action on the way. Just a reminder of the other scores in this round 17 night of the Betfred Super League. Wakefield with a 30-0 lead over Salford, closing in on their second win of the season. The champions are 10-0 to the good against Castleford, and Wigan 10-0 up against Huddersfield, with Abbas Miski going into double figures following his 2 tries in the first half. As it stands, the Leigh Leopards, by close of play tonight, would move second on the Betfred Super League table if they can record a victory against Hull KR, and they are halfway there, 22-0 up against Willie Peters. Hull KR, who have lots to do to get themselves back in the game. That's the Super League for the moment. Just a reminder of the NRL action we've got coming up for you on Sky Sports. Doubleheader tomorrow is the Cowboys Tigers, 8:30 a.m. on Sky Sports Arena. At 10:35 is the Broncos Dolphins in the Queensland Derby, and Sunday sees the Manly Sea Eagles taking on the Sydney Roosters. That's a 7:05 start on Sky Sports Arena. And main event, here come the Leopards, here come the Robins. Jordan Abdul, can you find a way back for your side?
Oh, 100%. There's always a way to get back into a game. We just need to get back to doing what Hull KR do well, and that's competing on every play, completing and, you know, working hard for each other, and I'm sure that some fortunes will change.
Yeah, I think they'll be more competitive this half, Hull KR, but Leigh are far in front too for them to get the win tonight.
Yeah, it's Leigh's to lose. If they do, it'll be in the company of our commentary team as we go back to Terry O'Connor, John Wilkin and Stuart Pike.
Spot on, Brian. Points difference as it stands would send Leigh second in the Super League table. That is quite an astonishing statistic. They are the story of this Super League season without a shadow of a doubt. They have some of the players of the Super League season on show, the likes of Lam and Asiata and Moan and Apape, and they have taken this season by storm.
They've been brilliant. They play quick, they're exciting to watch, they really do entertain everybody, and there's a real good atmosphere around this ground every time you turn up.
22-0, and we have 40 minutes of going second behind the Catalan Dragons in Super League. Ryan Hall, if Hull KR are to get back into this game, Ryan Hall will have a big part to play, you feel. His opposite number, Josh Charnley, with Super League try number 223. So he's now just 13 behind Hall in the try-scoring charts as they target Danny Maguire's record of 247. Luckily, midway inside the Leigh half of the field. And there's the kick from Milnes, and Brian tried to go the foot behind the try line but wasn't able to. Talking about a Brian, you know, this is his 9th club. He's been exceptional, hasn't he, since he moved from the Castleford Tigers, and one of several players who've just had their careers rejuvenated.
Well, it's almost a perfect fullback to play with Asiata and Ipape, because what they're doing is providing excellent ball for him, and he's got the skills of a halfback. This is what Leigh don't need to do, by the way.
Oh, Ipape dangerous on the charge.
It's fortunate. It's so lucky for Ricky Lutelli. He tries to force the ball. Staunton gets his hand to it. It pops up to Ipape.
You need a bit of luck to win these games.
They need more luck. They're 22-0 up. There's one team needs some luck here, and that's Hull KR.
A moan. 10 yards inside the Hull KR half of the field. At the moment, it does look to be a thankless task, but we have seen bigger comebacks from this in the Super League era for sure. Well, did that come off Litton? It did.
Yeah, it did.
So it's another set, and then...
Well, then it's an incorrect play of the ball.
He's lost the ball. They just had a mistake there, and Reynolds with the error, which means that instead of a fresh set, it's a poor play the ball from Ben Reynolds.
Well, a bit more urgency from Hull KR in this second half. Forced a mistake, sloppy play of the ball from Reynolds. But again, it's just what they're going to put on in this next set. It's all right getting in and getting near to Leigh's line, but what have you got?
Okay, 22-0. John Wells enjoying the rain pitchside, John.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. It gets bad to worse for Hull Kingston Rovers. Fuad Yaha's left the field, limped off at half-time. That's a leg issue. Elliot Minchella is sitting on the bench looking a forlorn character as well. Unsure what's wrong with him at the moment. We're going to find out and get back to you.
Thanks, John. Now, the bad news is stacking up, isn't it? Because they've got the whole derby next Sunday lunchtime live on Sky Sports. They've got the Cup semi-final later in July to come against Wigan. They're already without several players, Abdul and Wood and Sue, and Coots retired, and Baxter maybe get 2 or 3 weeks or so. It doesn't get any easier for Willie Peters. But can they strike first in the second half? Parcell and Mills inside for Kennedy. The offload. This is a bit better. Got to go for it. Got to gamble. Mikey Lewis puts the ball through. And, well, was Ryan Hall charged off the ball? Rovers fans claim that he was. But it looks like all they're going to get is the ball back from a goal line dropout.
Well, he gets a nice kick on that. Yeah, there's a little nudge, isn't there, from Tom Briscoe, right in front of the fans.
Well, there's some experience on the wings here today, and a few Fuad Yaha's off the field. But there's 704 tries between the wingers. That's Briscoe included, Charnley, Hall, Yaha with a few less, but some vast experience. Briscoe showing all of that there.
Well, maybe should have had a penalty. Instead, they get a goal line dropout. 22-0. You say it so often in these live games where one team really does have to score next in the game, but that certainly applies to Hull KR. Reece Kennedy, former Brisbane Bronco, Matt Parcell looking to run things from dummy half, and Litton inside for Matty Scorton. They've had to have a major reshuffle, of course, with no Minchella and no Yaha. Kennedy, but nowhere to go, and good defence from the Leigh Leopards. 5 minutes gone, second half. Here is Litton with the dummy, and that was superbly read. It was Ben Mackenbarrow with the tackle. Little kick through for Mill, and there is Lachlan Lamb, who reads it well again, so it'll be a back-to-back goal line dropouts, but this is much better from KR.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're trying to build that bit of pressure. The previous kick, they forced a goal line dropout. That was on the second play. On this occasion, it's on the fourth. They're examining the try line. Lachlan Lamb not taking any chances with that. They need to score. Again, they still need to score.
Yeah, 22-0 it is, and John Wells has some news from the emergency ward 10 that is Hull KR.
Yeah, Pikey, very quickly, I went and spoke to Elliot Minchella about 3 metres away from me. Nerve damage, nerve issue, painful but temporary. It's just a precaution.
I wonder if it's the stinger, isn't it, that maybe they were referring to with the tackle that injured Asiata. Penalty against Dan Norman, high tackle on loan from St Helens. Got to score, they've got to get some points on the board. Yusuf Aydin brought down. It's a set restart, so every opportunity here for the Robins to score. Rowan Mills close to that try line. Parcell
In possession.
just about holds on to the ball. But good defence so far from Leigh. Parcell again. Goes to the right with Lytton. Mills with a show and go, but there's nowhere for Opicic to go.
Do you know what? You've been in this position, haven't you, John? You know, as a player, you've had that many sets thrown at you, and the opposition can't get through you. That just lifts you.
Well, and they also take a lot of confidence. The Hull KR have resorted to kick the ball to break them down. Leigh's defence has been composed. It hasn't really been pulled out of shape. Danny Maguire and Willie Peters are confused about what their side's doing. There's a visible difference between these two teams when they attack, Stuart. And it's when Leigh put the foot on the accelerator, when they've got the ball, they have Asiata hits the line, Lamb full speed, and it's all done at speed and tempo. There's a real difference here. Hull KR through Milnes and Mikey Lewis, for me, way too flat, almost predictable and slower.
That's why that shot of Willie Peters and Danny Maguire, the frustration, two very, very good halfbacks. Do you know, they're organising the teams when they're used to play.
22-0 it stays. I'm sure the frustration at the moment will be shared by the Rovers assistant coach David Hodgson. You've given it a good go at the start of the second half, but still can't score.
Yeah, that's what the boss asked for at half-time, just to build a little bit of pressure, which we didn't do it at any point really in the first half. So an error wasn't the best thing to finish with. We could have done with another repeat set and put it on Leigh a little bit more, tidy his middles out.
Injuries not helping either, David.
No, we've had to make a couple of changes at half-time, but that's rugby league, and we've got a few left in the bank, so some of the outside backs will have to work hard tonight.
Zellon's dropped the ball there, and Kenny Dowell, in the end, is pushed back behind his own try line. Brilliant kick from Lachlan Lamb, brilliant chase from Leigh.
It's not been a great night for Zenon. He's come up with a few scratchy decisions with the ball, let a 40-20 go, and then he's just fumbled one there. It's a tough kick, it was a great chase. Zenon just not good enough. And that is Hull KR in a nutshell, right? They're down one end of the field. They've had 3 sets to score. They haven't come up with anything. They make a mistake. Now all of a sudden they're dropping the ball out from their end.
They go for the short one. Are they going to get the ball back? There's a chance here. Now, was he tackled without the ball? Now, this could be a penalty try. It's going to be a big call, this for Chris Kendall, the video referee. Is it a try? Is it a penalty try? Chris Kendall, over to you.
OK, we've got a live call of a penalty try. So that's not backwards by Hull KR. There's no touch by Leigh. Backwards by Hull KR again. It's kicked by Latella, and he's then tackled. It's backwards. OK, in the opinion of the referee, Latella would have scored. That's the on-field call, so I need to see if I've got sufficient evidence to overturn that. Can I watch it full speed from here, please? OK, I'm going to support the on-field call. I'm happy I've made my decision.
Well, the on-field call was a penalty try, and you can't really argue with that. And the video referee, Chris Kendall, agrees. And it is a try for Ricky Luatele. It's a penalty try. It'll be a kick from underneath the post, and it goes from bad to worse for Hull KR, but it was a clear tackle without the ball. I'm afraid Rovers can't argue.
Yeah, well, it's Matt Parcell with the tackle on the telly, trying to stop him getting to the kick that he nudged ahead. And it's that short kick-off, short drop-out from Hull KR. Opicic couldn't get there. Look, the referees give the penalty try. It's very hard for them, the video referee, to overturn that. He needs conclusive evidence. Luatele wasn't going to get there. It's just Hull KR to go from one end of the field to be almost scoring, to be applying some pressure, then to go to the other end, it's a repeat set, short drop out, and then to concede a try is heartbreaking.
Well, a good call from Marcus Griffiths, backed up by the video ref Chris Kendall, but it was the right call. Matt Parcell knew exactly what he was doing, didn't he? He didn't get away with it. Ben Reynolds from in front to make it an even better night so far for the Leigh Leopards. 28-0. And Terry, they're worth every point of that.
Yeah, they are. They've been very good, haven't they? That 5-minute spell from Hull KR was very sloppy. Very sloppy. From having a couple of cracks at the line to then having to defend the line, they just couldn't do it. And when we were here last time, round one, sorry, Jack Hughes got a penalty try versus Salford. They got another one tonight. And Ricky Leotelli, what a signing he's been. You look at him and Zach Hardacre. Absolutely. Him and Zach Hardacre, them outside backs for Leigh, what a job they did. Sold the club, got him here, and haven't they produced the goods?
And all about the experience of Brian 31, Briscoe 33, Hardacre 31, Lutele 33, Charnley is 32. So it's all about the experience in that backline.
Yeah, and pedigree, you know, quality. Teams, you know, when the team usually comes up from the Championship, they maybe carry players that wouldn't get a gig anywhere else in the comp. Well, that can't be said of Leigh this year. They've signed pedigree players, and Leotelli is certainly one of those.
And halfway through last year, they knew what they were doing, they knew what they were building for. They wanted to win the competition and then go up with the same team and add to it.
28-0 Leigh in front. Elsewhere, Wakefield on their way to their second win. St Helens leading Castleford 16-0. Wigan 16-0 up against Huddersfield. But it still means that Leigh goes second, Wigan will be third, and Saints will be fourth in Super League. That is how it stands so far tonight. Kick goes up, and Zenon again under pressure. Ball goes backwards. That may well have been a high shot. The referee letting it play on, and got a feel, haven't you, for Tanguy Zenon? He's had a torrid night at the office.
And he was outstanding when he made his debut as well. The Rovers fans were raving about him, how good he was, but it's been tough, and that was against Salford in the cup.
Yeah, of course, Zenon as well. One of the youngsters who made their debut for France, you may remember.
Who would have thought? Leigh, Wigan in Super League. Leigh above them, the same borough.
Yeah.
Wow. The bragging rights are here.
Well, Leigh, who have been magnificent tonight. The next 4 games, 5 if you include the Challenge Cup semi-final, away from home. They don't play here at home at the Sports Village again until August the 19th, when they play the Catalan Dragons. They are ripping the pitch up here and completely relaying it. So there you have it. Cass, Salford, Wigan, Leeds away, and sandwiched in between that semi-final against Saints.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason the pitch is looking this sort of dull yellow colour. It needs ripping up. It's a mistake from Briscoe in the ruck. It's just a sloppy play of the ball. That gives Hull KR some possession, and boy, do they need some possession. I think what's impressed me about Leigh this year, Stuart, is they've come into it and not just produced periods in games where they've played well. They've played well for 80 minutes. They've produced big performances that have not just been in patches. It's been a full 80-minute performance. And they've showed a level of concentration and composure that's just been lacking from Hull KR this evening. It's stark contrast, isn't it? One team with energy, composure, discipline, and then Hull KR have just not shown any of those traits, although they have this year, but just not here tonight.
I know you're a big fan of the way that Leigh stick to their principles and way of playing, Terry.
They're outstanding. Every time you watch them, you're super impressed with them.
Lewis looking for a way through. Can they get that dreaded 0 off the scoreboard? 54 minutes gone, 28-0. Matt Parcell, who gave away the penalty try, that may well have been a knock-on. And it is, and more frustration. Well, Jez Litton it was with the error.
Well, the look from the coaches and the look from Jez Litton as well. When he makes the mistake, he turns around to Matt Parcell saying, that just was not on.
Yeah, it's one of them.
just get back on the bus, lads. It's one of them performances. There's not a lot gone right for Hull here. Leigh, we could talk about them, and they're great. You know, they've been Leigh. Hull have not been themselves. They've really improved in effort areas. Their scramble, the way they've defended this year. I thought Willie Peters has added a real steel to them. Certainly, it's been absent here tonight for Hull. Leigh look to be ruthless in this closing 20 minutes.
Mulhern with a charge, and they just seem to have a head of steam, don't they?
Well, they would do with the stats. You look at the stats. Look, Hull haven't completed all night. They've not built any pressure. The kicking game's been poor. The discipline's been terrible. So Leigh, if they don't have energy in this situation, it'd be crazy. And they have, and they've won that battle all night.
Well, a mistake by Zenon, but I think it came off a Leigh player. So play on, says the referee. In fact, it's going to be a penalty to Hull KR, a relieving penalty. In many ways, Terry, there's similarities in this game, I feel, and the game live on Sky last week when Hull FC beat St Helens. Hull FC were terrific, but as John says, for Saints it was a back on the bus performance, and very much the same here.
Well, you have that, don't you? And you know, sometimes rugby's all about attitude. It's also about who's on the team, who's missing from the team, and I think this Leigh side, they've been dogged all year. They've been determined. They want to prove pundits wrong who thought that they're going to end up at the bottom of the table. The group thought that they were going to be in the top end. They all thought that they were going to be in the playoffs. They spent big. They've got a decent squad. It's not the biggest, but boy, do they perform.
On that note, I heard Josh Charnley mention this at the start of the year, saying they wanted to prove the pundits wrong and guessed that they wouldn't be doing any good. I think every single pundit at Sky reckoned they'd be a surprise package this year, and they've delivered, haven't they, in every sense.
I think you had them down for 11th, actually.
I had them down as my surprise package, and they've delivered in every sense. The quality players that they've got, the coach in Adrian Lamb, they've delivered in every sense. What they need here, though, is this game scratchy. They just need to be composed and finish this game in a strong manner.
They have been the stars of Super League.
No ramp by Edwin.
I have them to finish second. You don't believe it?
You would have got a good bet on that.
Lots of people would, but they deserve to be where they are.
They deserve the plaudits they're getting.
They do, absolutely.
Wait. Go,
and they are currently in second place in the table. Here is King.
Move it! Bang back! Go to.
Parcell again. Goes to the outside. Mills, and there is Kane Linnett. A couple of yards away from the lead try line. That lead defence has been super solid so far tonight. King once more.
Go for.
Misses out Aiden, finds Litton and Lewis. Staunton looking for a way through, gets away from one, gets away from another. Still going Matthew Staunton. He's been one of the brighter sparks for Hull KR on this nightmare night so far. Litton with the kick through. And again, it's a poor play. And again, Leigh come up with possession. We're approaching the hour. It's 28-0.
Well, normally one of the better players, isn't he, Jez Litton? Wears his heart in his sleeve, and when you see that him and mistakes like that not coming off for them, you know that it's not going to be their night. It's been like that from the kickoff. I think you look at the forwards from Leigh, the outside backs, the carries that they're doing, the yardage that they're making real inroads.
Yeah, they've struggled, haven't they, Hull to deal with that. I think Leigh's power and the carries have created ruck speed, and in the first half in particular, the Pape really took advantage of that. Asiata created a lot of carnage. Also, just on Hull Lachlan Coote is massive. He's massive. As a loss for them. His experience and the execution he brings off the back of a man in studio, Jordan Abdul and Mikey Lewis. Now that spine together looks wholly different to the spine that we're looking at here tonight.
And you compare that with the spine of the Leigh Leopards and how dominant they've been. By the way, our statsman Ian Proctor tells me that it's May last year. You have to go all the way back to May last year since Hull KR were nilled, beaten 32-0 at Castleford. But you have to be honest sometimes and be brutally honest that it's a performance that possibly deserves a nil tonight from Hull KR.
Well, they've not offered much, but as well as them not offering much, like I said before, you've got to give credit to this Leigh side. How determined, how much time they had to defend on the line, they were put under a bit of pressure. Yeah, Hull KR didn't throw much at them, but they still threw enough numbers at them.
Well, they have been better, for sure, in the second half. They gave it a go, but that was far too easy for Gareth O'Brien. Far too easy.
I don't buy that at all, Stuart. I don't think they've been much better at all. I think they've had a little bit more possession. I don't think they've been much better than they were in the first half. But look, Hull KR now will just be looking to dig in, show some attitude. For video review and for Leigh, like I said, set restart.
I know what you mean, Stuart. They've looked more determined, but I agree with John, they've not threw anything at them.
Hardacre. Well, they've got a great opportunity, haven't they, to put it right next weekend.
What a game,
The biggest game of all against the Black and Whites, Hull FC. 11:30, we're on the air next Sunday for a 12 o'clock kickoff. Rovers against FC. High tackle by King, no arguments there.
Yeah, just slick-tided King. Applying some pressure from the inside of the line. It's great footwork from Chamberlain in wet conditions to go back there. And just tired middlemen. What you don't want to see is somebody coming back with footwork and speed. Chamberlain playing in the back row, obviously a centre, has the footwork of a centre. Just challenging George King and those Hull KR middles to make some big tackles when they're tired. Hull KR, as a story, have been just an amazing story. Such a great club. Fantastic development of their club and really improved them, just become a mainstay in Super League. But they don't want to let the season slide here.
Well, they're looking for more points. More points to make sure they do overtake their big borough rivals, Wigan, and go second. Reynolds it is, and the space out on the far side, but the ball goes down from Leigh. Given as a knock-on, not to the disappointments of the Leigh coach and the Leigh fans. 19 minutes to go, 28-0.
Yeah, we're still looking for points, and you can see the frustration, disappointment. Adrian Lamb for that went back along with Ricky Leigh. Still looking to get it out wide. And
Charlie said, leave it, Ricky. Leave it, it's mine. Adrian Lamb's fuming.
And that's the reaction, 28-0 up, they're winning. They still want more points. They want to put this Hull KR team to the sword.
Well, Hull KR's win against Wakefield last weekend ended a run of 4 consecutive Super League defeats. But look at this, Wakefield have won, brilliant win over Salford by 32 points to 6. St Helens 16-0 up against Castleford, Wigan 22-0 up against the Huddersfield Giants. All that means is, at the moment, Leigh are still second above Wigan by 5 points.
Yeah.
5 points difference.
Of all that, it's a head scratcher for Paul Rowley there, isn't it? Salford. Wakefield producing what looks like an amazing performance in desperate situation.
It's been one of those seasons, hasn't it?
Well, they're missing Croft, Ackers and Briley going into that game today.
Still, it just shows
Keep
that
going on about the spine, don't we, John?
that Castleford win last week against Warrington. How big could that be? Because the cast could have been dragged right down into the mire with Wakefield. The results been slightly different. So a great result for Wakefield, but just unfortunate cast got up last week.
Wakefield against Cass at Bellevue
When's
in
that?
August.
August, massive. How big?
It has been. It's been one of those brilliant seasons, hasn't it, where you just cannot predict anything. Mulhern has been strong, very strong tonight.
Up against his former club, isn't he?
Absolutely. Robbie Mulhern, 5 years and over 100 appearances for KR. He's found a new home. Another one of those players who has been rejuvenated after moving here. Another high kick and well taken by Zenon. Fair play to the young man. He has been peppered all night.
Yeah, he's had a lot to deal with, hasn't he? Under some pressure, Leotelli again. He gets that timing correct. He can't get out of the corner, and that line speed, they haven't even gained 8 metres yet.
And I think that's what Adrian Lamb will be pleased about. Look, he'll be pleased with 28 points. but he'll be pleased with the attitude and application of his defensive players, because it's easy to get sloppy in this situation and clock off defensively. I don't think Hull KR have thrown a lot at them, but Leigh will be delighted with how they defended here tonight.
Litton picks up the loose ball for KR. Still just inside their own half of the field. 15 minutes to go. Last tackle. Mills with a kick downfield. But again, it's far too easy for Gareth O'Brien. We talked about a video review for Willie Peters. Is the review, does he just consign this to the dustbin of history as Leigh come again, strong with Josh Chandler?
Well, sometimes, sure, there's not much you can say, you know, and show them. The players will be honest with themselves. If they're not honest with themselves, he's got the wrong group of players, but I believe that he has belief in those players. He's just disappointed in what they threw up in this game. Look, we talked so well about them at the start of the year, and yeah, that was with our studio guest who was in the side, but even without him, they've still done a decent job. But unfortunately, they've just not performed.
Big bonus as well for Leigh tonight. The return of Jack Hughes is on the field, has missed the last 10 with injury. Great ball inside, chance for Mulhern, what a try! This has been outstanding. What a try from Rob Mulhern. And Marcus Griffith, the referee, isn't quite satisfied.
I've got a try.
Did he get the ball down? We think he did,
please,
but our opinion doesn't matter. Chris Kendall will call it in.
Okay, we were checking for the merits of an 8-point try. Mulhern's in possession. Is there any foul play on Mulhern? Reaching out for the ground, reaching out for the line. Can we just run it through and just see what Tom does? Can we just play it full speed, please? Okay, is the foul play on Mulhern, or is he just going in to try and make a tackle? Okay, for me, he's just trying to make a tackle. I'm happy I've viewed the angles, I've made my decision.
Chris Kendall is happy with the challenge from Tom Opicic. It matters not, it's a try, but it's going to be a 6-point try for the Leigh Leopards rather than an 8-point try. Try it is, but no penalty try. And Robbie Mulhern getting the try that his performance has deserved, but still receiving treatment after the challenge from Tom Opicic.
Yeah, still struggling. Well, they get up that field position because the work from Josh Charnley. Hasn't he been a fabulous signing? Shown the door at Warrington, got a new home here at Leigh. And Robbie Mulhern, they've cut him to pieces a number of times in this game with the inside pass. And that's all to do with the man who's carrying the ball. He gets people interested. And Jez Litton falls for it. He goes for Ben Reynolds, a nice soft hands to Robbie Mulhern. And like I said, his go forward has been very good, appreciated by the coaching staff.
He's smart as well from Ben Reynolds. For people watching at home, Ben Reynolds just stands a little bit wide as we see Robbie Mulhern leaving the field here, injured in the challenge from Opicic. Reynolds being wide just makes Hull KR's defence stretch, and that opens up the space inside. It's absolutely fantastic from Leigh. I'm so glad Chris Kendall played it at full speed. We need to do that more because it really exposed there was nothing much in the challenge. Well done from the video referee.
Yeah. Good stuff from Chris Kendall. Good stuff from the Leigh Leopards. 34-0. And it really has been exceptional.
Yeah, and it's the width of the pass. It just drags those inside defenders from Hull KR wide. They have to overwork. It's Jez Litton who has to really push to get to Reynolds. And it's Mulhern. And it's that space there. Litton working over, somebody not working enough on the inside of the line. And Mulhern on the spot. Fantastic from Leigh. Exceptional from Ben Reynolds.
They are, as it stands, 13 minutes from going second in the Super League table. St Helens now lead by 22-0. The four-time Super League champs are about to go fourth in the Super League table. Warrington are dropping out of the top four after their nightmare run. But Leigh, the story of the night, and Leigh, the story of the season.
Yeah, Warrington as well. Let's not forget that they've got St Helens next, Wigan the week after, Wakefield. That's just a massive game now for Darryl Powell. A huge game for Warrington in a tough run for them. They faced Catalan after Wakefield in 4 weeks' time.
Warrington, of course, have 22 points. They will just stay in there, but just... Saints have got that game in hand. Catalan top. Warrington 22, but Leigh 22, Wigan 22, Saints 20, Salford 20. How close, how good is it?
It's fantastic. And just for Leigh here tonight, they've got a blessing. They've been able to just roll a Pape off the field. So they've Asiata and a Pape now off the field. And you can do that when you're winning games comfortably.
It wasn't the best of passes, wasn't it?
They're absolutely killing themselves.
I like that phrase that John Wilkie came up with. We'll use it more. It's a back-on-the-bus performance.
I've had a fair few of them myself, Stuart, to be honest.
I remember.
Yeah, you were driving the bus.
Norman was the man who made the break, and it was well held by Lachlan Lamb. Here is Jack Hughes, of course, rebuilding his career here. Another one, the former Warrington captain, but last played at Easter, would you believe? Lamb, and it was knocked down by Opacich, so Leigh will get another go.
It was a tough ball to catch that. It was that pace. Look at him, he's trying to bullet that out. Whether it was to Leigh Utelli going through the gap or Josh Jarnley on the wing. Opacich makes a play for it, can't come up with it. Another set they've got to deal with.
Well, there we go. This is how it stands. Quite remarkable. The top six separated by 4 points. Leigh are going second above Wigan. Wigan are beating Huddersfield by 22 points to 0. Saints going fifth. They are 22-0 up against the Castleford Tigers, and Salford beaten it in astonishing fashion by Wakefield tonight. The mistake from Ben Reynolds.
Yeah, that's really the first period of the game where Leigh have just looked a little bit sloppy, and they can be forgiven. They're going to go second in the table. You have a feeling we're going to see that as it stands table quite a lot this year. It's so tight up the top there. It's all changing.
Do you think there's going to be a party around here over the weekend? Derek Beaumont in particular. Those top two teams in 2017 were in the £1 million game. That is incredible. Yeah. The turnaround, the money being invested, quality.
Yeah. Brilliant story from both. And Wigan play Leigh at the DW Stadium next month.
What a game. What a game that'll be.
Lytton. Is there going to be a consolation for Mikey Lewis? And there is. Well, he was the villain at the start of the game when he was sin-binned unnecessarily for a late challenge on Briscoe. But Rovers avoid the zero. Mikey Lewis with his 7th Super League try of the season, and they're on the board.
Yeah, and it was a mistake from Leigh, and a characteristic mistake on the evidence of tonight. And it's Lewis. He just catches Ben Reynolds napping, and he can do this to players with his change of direction and footwork. It's not been a vintage night for Mikey Lewis by any stretch, but a glimpse of what he can do and what he has been doing consistently for Hull KR.
Well, individual brilliance. He's had nothing to play off, has he? And obviously be disappointed spending 10 minutes in the sin bin. The powerful little half that he is. He's certainly confident. He's got that swagger that all good halves have.
I'll tell you what, though, that will annoy the heck out of Adrian Lamb.
He's got his best players off the field now. Adrian Lamb's got his fluffy slippers on, his left leopard print slippers. He's no concerns here tonight, Stuart.
That was a poor effort by Rowan Mills. So 34 points to 4 with 8 minutes to go.
Look, obviously, they just needed something out of this game, and whether it's just this try that they go away with, like you said before, Stuart, they play against Hull next Sunday. They're going to be out for revenge from what happened on Good Friday when they were nilled and they had 40 put on them. So Willie Peters, Danny Maguire, they know that next weekend is a massive day in the diary, not just for what's going to happen in the league and the table, but because of what that game means.
Yeah, and they need to. Yeah, the game's massive. I agree with you, Terry. But they need to arrest the form that they're in, don't they? They need to get that form back. And a lot of it's down to personnel. You know, both coaches know they're an infinitely better team when they've got the starting players out there. But there's certain things that you can do. Adrian Lamb knows he's got all of his star players available. The question mark would be Asiata tonight.
A little stoppage. A microphone repair for the referee, Marcus Griffiths. By the way, Huddersfield have scored through Jake Bibby at the DW, so 22 points to 6, and confirming if we needed confirmation that on points difference, Leigh will be second. What a job he's done.
Yeah, so proud. So proud of their achievements over the last couple of years.
We were mentioning at half-time, weren't we, Terry, about Lachlan Lamb and how good he's been, and the 3 or 4 teams from the NRL are looking to take him back to Australia. I'm sure his dad and the owner will be doing all they can to make sure he stays here.
Well, the good thing for Derek Beaumont is that his dad coaches him. If his dad can't persuade him to stay, no amount of money is going to persuade him to stay. He's a fabulous player. He's transformed the team, and Leigh are not that yo-yo side that we've seen over years. When they've got promoted to Super League, they then get relegated the following year, and then they struggle for a couple of years. This is a team that's had investment put into them, got a squad, got a coaching set up, and they're doing a decent job and they're making a good fist of it.
Yeah, Hull are just trying to get a roll on here, but for Leigh, look, second in the table now is nice. Challenge Cup semi-finals, nice. But if they really stick to this process, 6 again here, as Leigh just getting a bit scrappy. If they stick to this process and how they play, they could win some silverware this year, and that, you know, finishing in the playoffs would be great for them. Challenge Cup semi-finals already great. The challenge is now to just increase that expectation of what you can do and go and win something.
Well, they're already exceeding those expectations.
No, but go and win something now, because we don't just want them to finish high in the table. They want to go on and win something, and they can. They've got the weapons in their team to go on and trouble teams.
Leigh calls offside. I mentioned they got 4 consecutive away games plus that semi-final. They don't play back here until the week after the cup final. They could be at Wembley before they actually come back here and play at Leigh. They could be Challenge Cup winners, who knows? But yeah, turn all the promise into silverware, and what a huge season it would have been. Looking for a second try. Here is Opicic on the far side, and well, there was no chance whatsoever of Sean Kenny-Dowell getting anywhere near that.
And again, just credit the defence, you know, just pushing off, defending what's in front of them, been physical, been aggressive when they have to, forcing them into that mistake. Opicic just trying to flick the ball out.
It's great defence from Josh Charnley again. I spoke about how patient he was on the end of the line. Well, look, we talked about his try scoring, and we love to talk about who scores tries and how many tries they've scored. In a team, when your winger can defend like that, be patient, be passive, trust the man inside him, and just nullify the attacking threat for OKR. That's as impressive as a teammate. That's what you want from your wingers, and he's done it really well tonight. If you think about Yaha in the first half getting pushed into touch, think about 2 or 3 really patient decisions on the edge.
To be fair, they've done it well most of the year, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's only little patches in games where they may have switched off, like the start last week against Catalan.
5 minutes to go, 34 points to 4. Set restart. St Helens are winners tonight, 22-0 over the Castleford Tigers. They go 5th. Wigan beating Huddersfield 22 points to 6. They are 3rd.
Move, come on, Matt. Keep your head
34 points to 4. On points difference, the Leigh Leopards 2nd in the Super League table.
2. Move, Matt.
Derek Beaumont maybe popping a cork later on. It's certainly his style, isn't it?
Away, Ryan.
Well, why shouldn't he celebrate? Like, this club is in existence because of that man and what he's done.
He's put his money where his mouth is.
His mouth where his money is, did you say, Stuart?
Probably that as well.
Kisses it every night.
Well, and even on that effort, 4.5 minutes to go, they are still hungry to defend like that. Restrict Tanguy Zenon from getting back in the field of play and playing the ball. They'll now get the ball out back for efforts like that. Look, there's 5 Leopards players there in front of him. He's got nowhere to go. They're the impressive signs that coaches look at. What's your willingness like to work?
Not gone.
Yeah, on the flip to that, then.
Another mistake, Rowe Mills with the attempted short dropout. Penalty in front of the post.
Execution for OKR has been poor. The discipline has been poor. They've not built any pressure. They've lost the ruck consistently all night. There's not been a lot go right for them. And on the flip to that, well, Leigh have just controlled this game from start to finish, every aspect.
Not even a thought about just having the easy 2. They want another try. That's what they're going for. Ollie Holmes, Joe Mellor on for Edwin Apapi, of course, from dummy half. Reynolds and Lamb with the kick through, and Zenon read it well. Fair play to the young man, because Nuatele was racing in, but it's another goal line dropout.
Right. Again, like you said, he's had a lot to deal with, hasn't he? Leigh just trying to keep the foot on the accelerator and pressure them into making that mistake. And you'll guess Rowe Mills this time will get it right. Look at that, yeah. Bit more distance on it this time.
Yeah, bounce of the ball, favouring Tom Briscoe. It was Briscoe's try after 9 minutes that started it all. He dropped the ball, but it matters not. And this is Leigh's biggest Super League score of the season. 34 points to 4. 2.5 minutes to go. It won't make too much difference that the ball slithered out of the hands of the veteran winger.
Yeah, Adrian Lamb will be delighted with so many elements of his team's performance here. Sure, at full time they'll play down the position that they're in. They'll play down the potential of what they can go on and do, and focus on the detail of what they've done here tonight, which is it's had discipline about it, defensive connection with the ball when Asiata and Epape on the field, devastating at times. And I think that could be one of the crucial things tonight. John Asiata, how he is, he said he's going to be fine, but having him on the field makes them so much more effective. Having Epape on the field makes them so much more effective. Keeping that spine held together by that man will be important, because they've not got a big squad, have they? Epape is needed, Asiata's needed on the field. Injuries could be the thing for Leigh this year if it goes wrong.
Well, another last tackle play goes wrong from Rowan Mills. Leeds, Castleford, Warrington, Hull FC, now Hull KR, a 5th consecutive home win for the Leigh Leopards. Mighty impressive too.
Do you know what I think they'll be really happy with? Look, there isn't a problem with how Leigh attack and how many times they can clock up points. You only have to look at the last 7 games, and 6 out of the last 7 they've scored 30 points or more. So it shows what they can do with the ball, but it's what they can do with defence. And just to concede 4 points shows them that they've got right side of the game as well.
Asiata was replaced just as a precaution with the game won.
Yeah, but he's plays such an abrasive style. The point is, with him and Epape, keeping them fit and healthy is going to be important. It's just a scare for them tonight. A nice kick from Ben Reynolds with a bit of cramp. His keys played well. Just controlled kick into that corner. Wind this game down. Combination of him and Lamb has been equally as effective off the back of Asiata.
So the countdown is on for the Leigh Leopards. The two coaches shaking hands It's been a disappointing night and some for Willie Peters. It's been a fabulous night for Adrian Lamb and his son Lachlan Lamb. Leigh have been absolutely outstanding. 10 wins out of 11, including the Challenge Cup, 5 consecutive home wins. They're 80 minutes from Wembley, and they are incredibly second in the Super League table. It is the story of the Super League season. The Leigh Leopards writing all the headlines, and they've beaten Hull KR by 34 points to 4.